XRP is pumping. It is up 11% today. And I know that is juicy because it's holding up about 50 cents. Finally, it is time. However, guys, in terms of the macro, you're still getting absolutely screwed, especially right now with what I'm about to show you in this video. It will make you realize that this is all one big game. I'm telling you, it is happening right now as we speak. Check this out.
Putin announced this week that Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries all have emerging economies. So what happens if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant currency? Former Assistant Treasury Secretary and host of the Monica Crowley podcast, Monica Crowley, is here to weigh in. Monica, great to see you this morning. Let's start right there. What happens if these emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan?
Simply put, it will be used to massively control you. And in this video, I'll explain exactly how that would work and exactly what's being worked on in the background right now as we speak. I've said it before already, but if you're not smart with it and you just keep playing by their rules, you'll always stay poor. But worst of all, you'll literally be controlled to the highest degree. You have to understand, even if the US dollar just breaks off from all the global trade and they all choose to go for a different currency, you'll still get screwed. And just watch this video, guys. I'll explain everything to you. Before we do that, though, I want to quickly point out that we got to over 1,000 likes on our previous video. Thank you all for that, and let's again hit another 1,000 likes. Let's go! Huh? Yeah, that didn't really look cool. I did get very wet. Was it worth it? I don't know. Want to also quickly say, I know I've been prepping for this doomsday, and again, this video is primarily about everything that's happening in the background that is literally screwing you as we speak. But I also have good news, and that is that I'm working right now on that airdrop video that I talked about a couple of days ago. There are a couple of airdrops coming up, maybe in a couple months, where if you prepare for them properly right now, it might be able to give you a couple tens of thousands of dollars. And so guys, make sure you have the notification bell on for those. And now let's watch two videos that will make you realize that you are, or I should say we are, on the verge of a couple of major changes.
If Saudi Arabia decides to join with America's enemies here and start trading oil in different currencies, that is going to undermine the entire global economic system. And here at home, you know what it's going to mean for us? It's going to mean raging inflation, so much worse than anything we have ever experienced. And I'll tell you, they're setting it up so that they can then come to the rescue by introducing central bank digital currencies. If they were to do that, and the United States already has a pilot program, that means the loss of your individual economic freedom, because the government will have total access and control of everything you buy and sell, and the ability to turn it off like that.
Ominous warning. I hear you. Saudi Arabia is the tipping point. Oil trading in dollars is the tipping.
And also watch this one right here.
For the people who work numbers, I am giving you free advice that those of you who are holding dollars, you surely might go into losses. You better do what you must do, because this market is going to be different in a couple of weeks.
Now, first of all, she sounds like a hardcore Bitcoiner or crypto person, because what she states is literally what all the crypto guys keep warning you for, that regardless of what it looks like, they are going to try and push a CBDC through. Market's going really, really bad. Boom, we might be able to fix it with a CBDC. Market does really well for some miraculous reason. Let's even make it better through the power of a CBDC. Let's keep that innovation going. But the second video is the one that really shocks everybody, I think, because that's the president of Kenya. And he's literally saying, if you're holding US dollars, you might want to do what you want to do. He's basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but he's basically saying get rid of it because it's going to go down, especially here in the next couple of weeks. And that's a scary thing to hear. Quite recently here, we have talked about their plans to cut off your access to buy easy crypto. And a couple of theories have recently surfaced about why they try to crash the US dollar to then be able to introduce a CBDC out of necessity to then make it harder for you to step away and do anything you want, without their approval, basically. Obviously, though, crypto is a borderless thing and people can always find themselves a way to buy more. And obviously, then they can, make transactions without anybody's oversight, which might not be exactly what they want. But take a look at what G7 has just come to a conclusion to as well. The G7 nations are now going to work together on tougher global crypto regulations. Again, I'm a big fan of crypto regulations in the traditional sense of keep the markets free, make sure these guys can do what they want, but so that the masses of people don't get hurt or scammed. That's different, however, than let's regulate it so it doesn't take away our power. Those are two completely different things. We've talked about it many times before, but I still feel very strongly about this idea of the US dollar coming to an end as the world reserve currency. Now, again, I am not 1,000% sure that Bitcoin is going to take over right now. It could still be another intermediary currency, and another addition to that story is that it could even be that the next world reserve currency won't actually stay for the next decades or centuries, but actually would be an intermediary currency for a little bit until cryptocurrencies could take over. Again, I'm just stating some things that could happen, because even though in history, again, the central, or I should say world reserve currency has stayed around for about a century, it doesn't always have to remain that way. And like Balaji is saying here, let's hope that it's Bitcoin and not the Chinese yuan. Well, I have another fun thing for you guys to look at. So what we're looking at right here is a Bitcoin chart. And what is it? A logarithmic one. What does it showcase though? It showcases Bitcoin going to $1 million in the next 3 months. Now, I actually have put it into about two and a little bit months, because he said it in the middle of March, and obviously this is a March, April, and June, not sure why I said June, May chart that I've made for you guys here. But it showcases just how quickly Bitcoin would basically have to rise to get to $1 million in the next 3 months. And the crazy part about it is, it really does not look that crazy. I mean, just for fun, take a look at how fast some of the bank stock have plummeted here recently, or how fast hyperinflation could just destroy an entire economy, an entire country, basically. Yeah, well, from that perspective, this chart is really not that absurd as you might imagine. Again, what we're talking about is the main exodus of the entire US dollar economy, collapsing, everything going down. And this would be the result for Bitcoin. Does it really look that crazy to you guys? Again, it's a pretty wild ride, don't get me wrong, but Bitcoin is going anyway, but just a little bit, quicker than the trajectory that I'd like to put on it. Anyway, you have to understand that in the back, quite recently we've seen NASDAQ and quite a couple of other companies, even like Microsoft, through their Microsoft. Perhaps because they know what's more coming in the banking realm. But even MicroStrategy here is buying even more crypto. They've just acquired themselves another 6,500 at about $150 million at about $23,000 per Bitcoin. Coinbase is preparing for this crypto stuff to take over, not by buying more, but no, expanding upon this crypto realm by potentially creating themselves an inflation-pegged stablecoin, which could be very interesting. And by the way, if you guys don't understand why I keep warning you about Jim Cramer's words, watch this video.
Bitcoin went up today, and I could argue that now it can't even be held in banks. Bitcoin's a strange animal. I will say point blank, I think it's being manipulated up. It was being manipulated the whole time by Sam Bankman-Fried. So please don't assume, therefore, that it's not still being manipulated. And I would sell my Bitcoin right into this rally. And believe me, I had been a believer one time in Bitcoin. Not here, not now.
Don't you guys agree it sounds a little bit like Kermit when he speaks?
Just about 2 weeks ago, he told everybody to sell it, and Bitcoin right now is up like 15% or so since he said that. And just from the way he speaks, this man sounds like the most obvious puppet out of all of them. Understand, guys, they don't want the masses to make money. So who do you have in front of a screen? A guy that just tells the people what to do so they lose more money, it seems. Allegedly, all right, allegedly. He is a funny guy, though. He is, he's prone to be wrong every single time. It's kind of funny. So him doubling down on cryptocurrencies here, pushing it or trying to push it into the ground even further, makes me even more bullish. There are a couple more crazy things happening though right now as we speak. Here's some breaking news that just came out. There are actually a couple different pieces. First of all, Apple introduces Apple Pay later. You might think, why is this important for a crypto video? Well, they're allowing the users to split purchases into 4 payments over time with 0 interest and no fees. The first thing I thought when I read this was, okay, they want the people to spend more money that they do not have. Because if it's within Apple Pay, that is huge, and zero interest and no fees, this means that basically everybody can just stall whatever payments they had through using Apple. I'm just a little bit afraid of what that might cause, but we have more, and this is actually way more important. Just in France, 5 major banks were raided by the French authorities in a 100 billion euro fraud investigation. Are you guys reading what I'm reading right there? The Société Générale, the BNP Paribas, Natixis, HSBC, and Exane were all raided today by the French authorities. And again, that puts into perspective just in an interesting manner how people reflected upon CZ and Binance in that lawsuit versus how they look at the major banks doing the same stuff. And make sure you grab yourself your popcorn because things are about to get crazy. Take a look at this, for example. The World Bank has just warned of a lost decade in global economic growth. And we also have the president of the ECB admitting if banks don't use CBDC, they will lose control. We already earlier talked about this controlling manner that they're trying to go for here through the power of CBDC. And so make sure you watch this video. But first, 2 things. First of all, make sure you press that like button. If you're still looking for a crypto exchange to trade on, make sure you check the link down below for Bybit. It's the exchange that I personally use, but just when checking it out, we are again almost at 1,000 likes, which is awesome.
Where do we stand? We central bankers, we have been operating as a monetary anchor in relation to the commercial banks and the private money. If we are not in that game, if we are not involved in experimenting, in innovating in terms of digital central bank money, we risk losing the role of anchor that we have played for many, many decades. And we have historical examples of period where the central bank monetary anchor was not there, and that precipitated crisis after crisis. That certainly was the case at the time of the free banking in the 19th century. Do we want to go back to those days? Probably not. I would say certainly not from our vantage point, as a result of which we have to respond to the demand for those digital payments in order to maintain the role of anchor that we have been playing regularly.
Anyway, I think all that speaks for itself. Right now, XRP price is still going up. Bitcoin is facing some resistance in terms of dominance, but also plainly in terms of price after hitting our major resistance level that has lasted for years. Again, I've been preparing you guys in videos time and time again. As you can see, we still have our short position open, as the theory here is we've had 2 major zones that we're watching for the Bitcoin price. One might deduce that this at roughly $26 and a little bit $1,000 is also an important area for Bitcoin because we keep seeing touching points within that area. I would not state that you're wrong. Anyway, our most important zone though lied here at roughly $28,700. As we've described, we faced a couple of rejections within that area. And after getting rejected, we broke down, came back towards our at that point major support at roughly $27.1 or so $1,000. And right now we have broken through like we described all yesterday. That support is now acting as resistance, as again, it's trying to basically clash above there, but we have more bias to go down rather than up until we break above the 28 point something, $20.7-ish thousand barrier. So yet again, until we break past that point, I'm still inclined that the prices are going to go downwards. And there's also a logical bias for it. Think about it this way. Let's say prices go up while your portfolio goes up. Let's say prices come down. If you have a short, you're kind of covering your ass a little bit, which is basically our hedged bet. The way I'm seeing it personally is, well, I'd rather just keep shorts open because I had a very nice entry here until we see signs of some sort of reversal. Okay, I might just close them. But it's really hard to make a loss because the moment that we actually do get back to this $28.3 thousand zone or so, well, we might just get out of our position and start opening some crazy long positions the moment that we actually break out above our major resistance level. Hopefully you understand what I mean with that. So right now we're in a pretty safe spot like we've been talking about for the last couple of days. I'll keep my short position open for right now. Looking for an even greater pullback. Maybe it will come. Maybe we'll go all the way back to 25,000, which is a very big psychological barrier. Just think about this for a little second though. If you're fearful or if you are wondering why the people are fearful and whether or not they should be. Understand, the CEO of Apple example, what is he? Bullish or bearish of crypto? That's right, bullish. CEO of BlackRock. Have they involved themselves with crypto? Absolutely freaking yes. And so if you start going down that list a little bit of all the behemoths in this world and most of the billionaires, don't ask yourself what have they spoken out publicly. No, ask yourself what have they been putting their money into? Have they been completely avoiding everything blockchain crypto related, or the opposite of trying to move themselves in and make money on this industry? Again, don't look at the words, but look at their actions. Then you'll start to understand the majority of these newscasters and billionaires trying to push it down. It's all a facade. It all does not matter. It's about where they place their own money. And yeah, all I'm trying to say here, guys, is be prepared for what's happening. So yeah, hopefully that concludes my thoughts here. They're not trying to make you earn money. They're trying to make themselves earn money. And in that process, you're going to have to be very smart not to get caught up in their games. Look at where they're placing their own money, understand the manipulation, and act accordingly. Crypto is a very juicy solution, guys, and it's honestly one of the safest bets right now if you were to ask me. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. These are just my thoughts. But all I'm saying is be ready and make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed this video.